Hey guys, welcome back to Following My Journey with Veds. This week I'm going to talk about, I guess it's one of my favorite stories just because it's a lot happened with this. It's about my seizure and my shoulder dislocations that I had this year in March. I've already covered my bowel obstructions, my calf muscle tear, my bowel perforation in my other videos, so if you missed any of that or even missed how I was diagnosed, those are my previous videos. Go ahead and give them a watch. But we'll go ahead and start talking about my seizure. So I don't have epilepsy, just to give you a little bit of background. So seizure was literally on the bottom of my complication list if I were to have one. I never thought that I would have one. And so the week that it happened, since I guess January, I had been going again routinely to get IV hydration from my doctor. I had to get fluids because my appetite was poor, it was terrible, and I needed to make sure that I had the proper nutrients and energy to live my life and to take my licensing exam, which I took in February. And so I was going weekly, just getting IV fluids, and a weekly, 2 weeks, just depending on how my energy levels were. And that was from January to February. So in February, at the end of February, I went to California. We had a family wedding, so I came home Sunday, and then Monday I had to go to my doctor to get an IV infusion of a medication to help prevent fractures, because I also happen to have mild osteopenia and a little bit of osteoporosis in some areas. So this medication, I've been taking vitamin D and calcium my whole life, since I was 14, because I've always had low bone density. And this medication is to help prevent fractures, because obviously my body is not working well with my own calcium and vitamin D levels, so, which have been normal. So this is just supposed to be a yearly infusion of a medication. So that was on Monday, and I had to get an infusion of just fluids, normal saline, what's normally in the body, for 6 hours, and then it was a 15-minute infusion of the medication. So that was on Monday. And the side effects from that medication is called Zometa. They affected me terribly. Like, I was fine Monday night, but then Tuesday I woke up with body aches. I couldn't even turn myself over in my bed because my body was hurting that bad. And I had poor appetite. It felt like the flu. And so I was in bed Tuesday, Wednesday, not eating anything, just drinking, just eating Jello and drinking broth and just water. So that was Tuesday and Wednesday. And then Thursday, I actually had an appointment with my colorectal surgeon and my GI doctor. And, you know, there was nothing of concern. I wasn't necessarily in pain. I had a headache on Thursday, like a really bad headache. And I remember that day, I think all I drank was water, and my head was hurting, but I haven't had headaches like that, and I was just cranky. And then Friday, I tried to eat because I was like, I need to eat something. I think I might have just had salmon that night, and I tried a little bit of Gatorade. And then I went to a friend's house that night to stay over, because sometimes I'm like, maybe I just need a distraction and be with people that help keep my mind off of what I'm feeling. And I didn't feel a need to go get checked because I didn't have pain. Normally, everything that I've gone through, I've had severe pain that doesn't go away. So I was like, I was just blaming it on my GI issues. I'm like, I always feel nauseous, so that's, what's new. So I stayed the night there, and I remember just feeling very, like, I had a lot of acid reflux, and my friend took me to Walgreens, like, at midnight to get some Tums, and I remember feeling disoriented, but I just thought, because, I haven't been eating, and yeah, I was just very nauseous. So I kept saying, like, if I lie down, if I just rest a little bit, I'll feel better. And then in the middle of the night, I woke up around 5, very nauseous. So I got up and I sat by the toilet for like an hour, and nothing was coming up. Like, I was just dry heaving, and I just felt terribly sick. I didn't feel better, like, with my eyes open or closed. And then I went back to sleep to see maybe that'll help. And then when I woke up in the morning, again, still feeling terrible, and no matter if I was sitting up, laying down, eyes open, eyes closed, I was just feeling terrible. So I had texted my mom, because I was on the west side, which is like 25 minutes from where I live, and I was like, I don't feel comfortable getting in my truck and driving home because I feel sick. Like, I don't know. So I was like, can you come pick me up? So right away she came, and I remember the I don't even remember the drive home too much. I was talking to my mom and she kept saying maybe we should go to the ER, and I was like, it's fine. And I was just like this the whole time, the whole drive, because my head was hurting and I felt nauseous. And so when we got to my house, I told her, I was like, I'm going to run inside because I need to poop or I need to throw up. Like, something has got to come out to make me feel better. So I went inside, and that's the last thing I remember. So my mom had said that I was already in the restroom, like I was sitting down, and she heard banging, and she thought that it was my nephew because he bangs things sometimes. She came to go see what he was doing, and she saw from under the bathroom door, the light, my reflection, that I was jerking. So I've never had a seizure, so you can imagine how freaked out my mom was. And she tried to unlock the door. By the time she could unlock the door, I was already coming out of it, and she said it was like 2 to 3 minutes long. And I was still sitting down, so I didn't fall. That's like one big thing. I did not fall. So she called the ambulance, and they came, and I don't remember anything because so anyways, when I went to the ER, they found out that my sodium levels had dropped to 122, and normally the levels are from 135 to 145, that's the range, and they dropped super low, and they said that's what caused the seizure, because my sodium levels were low, and because they were low, I also had altered mental status, so I don't remember like much of that day at all, and I couldn't really tell them what was going on with me. So that day, everybody remembers that I was just saying, like, it hurts, I'm in pain, but every time they try to ask me where it hurts, I would kind of just go back to wherever I was. Like, I wasn't coherent. I couldn't answer where it hurts. I just kept saying it hurts. And they did CT scans, so they had taken me once to get a CT scan of the head, and then back to my room, and then back to get a CT scan of my stomach, just to check for artery dissections or perforation. Nothing. So it wasn't until later on my sister was like, what's hurting you? And all I said was shoulders. So then they told the doctor or whoever, and that's when they checked my shoulders, and they did x-rays, and they saw that both of my shoulders were dislocated. And I went 8 hours laying there on my shoulders with them being dislocated. That means that, so the top of the arm bone goes into the shoulder socket like this, and they dislocated backwards. So that means I was laying on my broken bones on both sides for that long. And I remember I kept trying to pick myself up because it hurt to lay on there. And I remember I'd ask my dad, I couldn't lift myself up, so I asked my dad and my brother to put their arms, to help me sit up. And as soon as they put their fingers under my arms, I would scream because it hurt. And it was terrible pain. Like, my mom told me that I even cussed out the x-ray techs because they were not being gentle with me, and it was hurting. So they had to put me under anesthesia, and they put my shoulders back in, and thank God I don't remember them coming out or going in. But I don't remember those first few days after that, and they were giving me IV fentanyl like every hour because of how much pain I was in, and they didn't know what was wrong. So I woke up, and I was in 2 like really big pillows and slings, and that was unintentional.
Where are you going?
The toe. No, we're doing a video for Ruli because he's like, can you watch? Anyway, so I was in the slings, and I did not know what happened. I didn't remember anything, and yeah. So, anyways, it was a long process because, of course, they didn't want to do surgery. So the extent of the damage is basically the head of the humerus, when it came out, it slammed back into my shoulder socket, the shoulder bone, and it got dented in. So I always say, like, this is the head of the humerus. It looks like Pac-Man. Like, there's a dent in there on both shoulders. So I have dents in the bones. I had a bone that's on the top of the arm that was cracked on this side, and on this side it had chipped off, so it was just hanging, and I had ligament tears. But we didn't want to do surgery because it's a very vascular area, so we're like, we're just gonna hold off, see if enough scar tissue forms to keep the shoulders in place, that way they don't pop out a lot, because if they kept dislocating, then I would have had surgery, and I'm already at risk for dislocations, and it's an even bigger risk now that I actually dislocated. So it was a long healing process. I was in the pillow and the slings for 9 days, and when I got them off, my arms felt heavy. Like, I couldn't lift them. It felt like they were just gonna fall, like, right off, just disconnect from my body. I needed help doing everything because I couldn't lift my arms. I couldn't push up my glasses, so I had to have somebody push them up for me, like, every 5 minutes because they would always fall, or I had to, like, kind of toss my head back. And I went a whole month without being able to brush my own teeth. I went 5 to 6 weeks needing people to feed me, and I had to, and to dress me, to shower. I couldn't move my arms backwards. That was contraindicated because that was the direction my shoulders dislocated, and if I were to do that, it was increased risk of popping out. So I couldn't wipe myself in the restroom. I couldn't shower myself, and that was for a total of 15 weeks, so 3 to 4 months. I had to rely on help from everybody to do basic things. And for a whole month too, I slept on the couch because I couldn't lift myself up and it hurt to lay on my shoulders. And eventually I had to ease into laying on the bed. So it was I wasn't sleeping well because my shoulders would hurt every time I woke up. And I found out that if I was stationary and immobile, my shoulders would hurt more, so I needed to start to move them. And I honestly didn't think I was going to get to where I am right now. I could do the YMCA. My shoulders, this is without surgery. I've been doing physical therapy 2 hours 3 times a week. It's been very intense. I can finally drive. I'm a lot more independent now. So basically, we think the seizure happened because I take a medication for the von Willebrand's whenever I have heavy bleeds, like my periods or big bruises, and it's called Stymate. It's a nasal spray. So I think I took it around the time that I got the IV hydration earlier that week, and it causes your kidneys to retain water. So we think that my sodium levels got diluted by my body holding in extra water, and that's what caused the sodium levels to drop. And this has never happened. I've taken Stymate my whole life for the von Willebrand's, but we think that that's what caused it because in June my sodium levels had dropped again. I had IV hydration on a Friday. My sodium level was 140. My doctor had checked it. And then I took the Stymate when I got home because I had a heavy flow. And the next day, literally in a few hours, 14 hours, my sodium went from 140 to 127. And I recognized the feeling of the low sodium because I felt very disoriented. I felt slow. It kind of felt like you were drunk, like I was drunk. I couldn't really process or think. My mom was asking me questions of what I'm feeling, and it was going too fast for me. So, and I was nauseous, and I was doing the whole dry heaving thing again. So I was like, I should go get checked. And sure enough, they saw that my sodium levels were at 127. And I was also very antsy and irritable. I get very irritable with my sodium levels dropping. So that's how fast, from Friday to Saturday, they dropped from 140 to 127. And I think if I would have gotten checked in March, that they would have caught my low sodium had I known that that's what was happening, and I wouldn't have had the seizure. So that's just some of the decisions that I have to face. I didn't go because I didn't have pain, and this was a very serious event to happen. But yeah, my shoulders are doing a lot better, and I think it's the combination of Stymate and fluids because I took the Stymate in between March and June when they dropped again, and nothing happened. So me and my doctor have now learned to stay away from that combo. But that's pretty much all of my complications that I have been through, the major ones. I'm going to do videos on some of the smaller day-to-day stuff and other things just that I go through of living with veds. And I wanted to add too that I got my license in February, my nursing license, and I haven't been able to work because, again, I went 3 to 4 months without being able to wipe myself in the restroom. I couldn't pull up my pants. I had to help people pull up my pants, and I couldn't even drive myself, so there's no way that I could even work. So I've literally just been focusing on my health this whole time, and I wouldn't have been able to get through it without the help of all my other extra arms out there. And my niece would even help me blow my nose and feed me. So I've had help from everybody, and I'm so grateful. And I'm gonna stay tuned for my future posts for next week because I'm gonna ask you all your opinion on what topic you would like to see first. But yeah, go ahead and share the video, share the profile, and help spread the awareness of this disease. Thank you.